8:01 on Saturday morning.
And the sun is bright.
It is. And so I'm going to go ahead and invite some people in so we can have a great Saturday morning. And if you all will get your coffee and come on and join us. We'd love to have you. Love to see you this morning.
Please excuse me. I'm having some allergy issues this morning. But nothing will stop this.
So I hope you all had a great weekend.
Yes.
A great weekend.
A great Friday.
A great week. A great Friday.
A great Friday. Get on to the weekend.
Yes. I'm in a weekend mindset, I guess, already.
You have your phone over there?
I do.
Okay, I'm gonna need it.
Here you go.
Because I need to go back and find all of that.
And also, while I'm doing this, we have some members discussing going bowling.
Yeah.
So we will be setting that up, and I will be posting the details when we get them, so we can have a little friendly competition going on.
Yep.
So we can show these husbands how it's done. Show these husbands how it's done at the bowling alley.
I'm sipping my coffee.
Sip your coffee. All right.
That was Mark chapter 10.
So let's see who we got in here. We got Miss Jaleesa.
Hey, Jaleesa, good morning.
Miss Princess Stokenberry and
Mr.
Mr. Grayland. Good morning.
Hey, Mr. Grayland.
Good morning.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the humble road to greatness. And so we have some scriptures, and one of the scripture readings is quite long. I know on the screen it says Mark 10, or it has it on there. So Mark 10, and it's going to be Mark 10, verse 35 through 45. And the reason being is that it kind of sets a tone for everything that's going to take place from this point on. So let me find Mark chapter 10 and verse number, verse number 35. And then I'm going to give me another swig of this coffee. All right, so where is that? 35. All right. So let me take another swig of this good stuff. Again, good morning. We're going to be talking about the humble road to greatness. And it says in Mark chapter 10, verse 35 through 45, this is a request of James and John. So somebody's requesting of James and John that they want something. It says, then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. And so he asked, what do you want me to do for you? He asked. They replied, let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in glory. And then Jesus said, you don't know what you are asking. Can you drink the cup I drank or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? He says, we can, they answered. It says, Jesus said to them, you will drink the cup I drank and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. He said, but to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared. When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. So they got upset because he told them that, in order to sit at the right hand or the left, it's not for me to do, but it's for people that have been prepared for that. So they got upset. So it says, that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. It says, For even the Son of Man did not come to be served,
Mm-hmm.
but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. So, you know, greatness comes with a price. And some people don't want to travel that road. I even find myself mumbling and complaining sometimes about that road. But humility is a quality that I do have. I do not have the quality of arrogance, but humility is something where, you know, it'd be more beneficial if you serve. So I wrote down a couple of definitions. First, humility. Very interesting point. Good morning, Miss Charlie. Good morning, Miss Omega. It says humility is the freedom from pride or arrogance. Mm. And then the definition of service, the action of helping or doing work for someone. So when we talk about the humble road to greatness, and we talk about what actually took place in Mark chapter 10 from verse 35 to 45, they wanted to sit at the top, and they thought they had all it took, but then they were told, the place in which you want to sit doesn't come by my authority, and the place where you want to sit is only for those that are prepared. So what I learned in my time of waiting when I was reading the book, I Am Number 8, because that book was written by John Gray, and it was talking about the sons and how David was the one out there in the field, and the other sons that they looked at, you know, they saw qualities of the king, but it wasn't the quality that the person was looking for. What I learned in that process was I kept getting told no, 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 no. It wasn't no that you're not ready. It was just no. But in actuality, I wasn't ready. And so when I got the position that was for me, it was because, one, I had served a very long time under different leaders. And I found myself learning from the servitude, because if you're going to lead, you have to be willing to serve. If all you want to do is lead and walk out all the orders but not serve, then there's an issue. If there's a spill on the floor at my job and I'm standing there looking at it, I don't call the custodian. I have a key to the closet that's closest to me. That's a custodian closet, and I get a mop and I mop the floor up. They're already doing something. I'm not gonna call them away. Now, if it's something outside the building that makes the school look bad, yes, I will call for that. But for stuff yesterday, there was a spill on the steps, some orange juice. I just got the mop and started mopping because you need to be willing to serve. And I called on the radio and said, I've already taken care of it, because they know I'm willing to serve. And so I really like that. When you're being groomed, it doesn't feel good. And the road that you travel is not always smooth, and it doesn't always have all the signs visible by which was coming forward.
Right.
But
it's also called leading by example too, because how many other people saw you do that?
That's interesting.
How many other people saw you do that? You know, so they should learn that, you know, just because you're in a certain position, it shouldn't put you above doing certain things.
Yes. And we want you to know that we serve a God and we serve a Son of God, which is Jesus, that has always shown himself to be humble and to serve. Yes, all power is in his hand. Yes, he had the authority to talk to the wind. Yes, he had the authority to speak to blindness and cause it to be yet vision again. Yes, he had the ability to grow out limbs, grow out ears, do whatever it was. But one of the things that was posed to the 10 was that, are you willing? Are you able to take this cup? And they said yes. And when they said that yes, to me, it seemed like they was saying it out of a little arrogance, meaning that we got this. I don't think so. Because when it came time for him to carry that cross up the hill, there wasn't a whole lot of people out there with him to help him do that. So when we talk about the humble road to greatness, we really just want to encourage you to take that road and don't complain about it like sometimes I do. Don't grumble and gripe about it sometimes like I do, but embrace that road that God is preparing you for that destined place so that when you get there, you are ready. You're ready to serve, you're ready to lead, you're ready to inspire, you're ready to grow and develop, you're ready to capture the mind of people that may not see God the way you see him, may not have experienced Jesus in the way that you experienced him, so that they can see another side, so that they can make an intelligent decision to make a change. Not because they're not a good person. Good people don't go to heaven. You know, good people don't go to heaven. And a lot of people say that, I'm a good person, I do these things. There's only one way. And so since we know that way, it's up to us, especially after listening to Robert Sheridan last week, it's up to us to be bold. It's up to us to be able to carry the mantle no matter what the weight, so that people can see that we can balance life, balance Christ, have fun, but be still under the authority of the word. So my challenge for all of us this week is to find an opportunity, a space where you can be humble, where you can be of service to somebody. Do that for us this week. Do that for yourself. You'll find some interesting things in that.
Even if it's in your own home.
Even if it's in your own home. If you haven't showed a little servitude in the house, show some servitude. Help fold some clothes.
Help your husband cut the yard.
Now she'll help me cut the yard and I'll help her fold some clothes. She'll get on that mower and drive that mower with her earphones on and keep on going. I'll help fold clothes because, hey, it's just something that we've grown accustomed to doing. There's some things that we do together. Other couples may not do that. Okay, that's no problem with me. But
how much nicer is it to make your spouse's load just a little bit easier? Just a little bit.
That's true.
Because what good would it do for him to be out there doing the yard? Just say our son is going to work. He out there doing the yard. It'll take you what, 4 hours?
It takes 4 hours.
By yourself?
It takes 4 hours.
So why not cut the yard while he's weeding? And then we cut that 4 hours down to 2 and we done.
It's a lot better because it takes 2 hours just to cut it. So I tell you what, it's really, and I will say this since we're talking about this, find something to do with your spouse where you can do something together. It might be something that you don't normally do together. Find something to do with your spouse together. Practice on the skills of being humble if you're a person that's kind of authoritarian, or if you're a person that feels like, this is not one of my duties, that's what you do. That's why it's good to be humble, so you can put yourself in another person's position to see and experience what they experience when you're not there and they're doing that job.
Because you don't know what kind of day your spouse had either. You may say, oh, well, they just have, housework and to deal with the kids. But what if one of them kids is just really being a booger bear that day? And what if their spouse is just wasn't feeling their best and they still trying to get all of their stuff done? And some wasn't gonna get done with all of that. We need to learn how to be more loving and understanding towards our spouses, because even though we may think that that's not being rewarded, God sees that. God sees that, and the key to it is, are you doing it with the right heart?
Are you
Are you doing it with the
heart?
right spirit?
Mhm.
Or you doing it just be doing it so, oh well, let me do this. So if I do this, she'll shut up, you know.
I act
Then they
like that.
won't fuss and complain about it, Or you doing it because you know what, this is something that we both want,
Mhm.
Not sure what happened today, but if we do it together, it'll get done quicker.
Yes.
We'll both accomplish what we want.
What we want
So
to do.
let's try to have that attitude towards our spouses.
An attitude of gratitude.
Yeah.
So we don't want you to be quiet this morning. If you have some things you want to chime in about humility, being humble, something or act of service that you do with your spouse, or even if it's not your spouse and you do it as an act of service to someone else, then go on and chime in. I'm gonna help Miss Charlie chime in because Miss Charlie is a very active, supportive person in different avenues. So Miss Charlie, the things that you do, if nobody ever said thank you or we appreciate you, I'm not at all those functions that you over or work with. But I know that you go in there with all guns blazing, all in. You all in to help. And so that's something that's a good quality about you, Miss Charlie. And we appreciate it. And we appreciate it because when you see people working like that, then sometimes when you don't want to do something, you do have an example of that, something that you can refer to. So just keep doing what you're doing, Miss Charlie, because we definitely see the things that you do and the organizations that you support. And you don't just do it with money; you do it with your hands. Right. And so that's a different thing.
Mr. Graydon said, "I wash my own clothes."
You wash your own clothes, Mr. Graydon? All right then. I do too. Not all the time, but I do. So. If you have anything you want to chime in, come on, let's go and have some conversation. We don't want to just be sitting here talking to you and you not giving us some
and spending
insight.
Time together is very important. We had our own moment yesterday. We was house free, no kids.
That's like a blood moon or something. No kids. Nobody. I was there, So when you see that thing on the news where it says a blood moon comes every so often, this was our blood moon yesterday. We sat out on the patio.
But I actually feel like a kid yesterday. Fire and able to dance on our patio.
Oh yeah, somebody might have videoed that. We need to see if somebody videoed me dancing on the patio last night.
I think somebody videoed.
Nobody videoed us last night.
And then we went in the kitchen and cooked dinner together. I don't think we've ever just actually cooked dinner together. And it was quick too. He cooked the chicken one way, and I cooked the chicken the other way, and we got it done. Got a chance to sit back and chill out.
So I'm gonna read you the devotional, and then we're gonna be able to put some things together. So. I'm going to read you what it says. It says the headlines are dominated by dealings of powerful leaders. Magazines highlight celebrities and success stories. Advertising sells the way to grab more attention, status, and prosperity. We are pushed to fight our way to the top, but Jesus calls us to trade in greatness for servanthood. We're to lay down our rights, to put others first, to show mercy and kindness, to love others more than ourselves. No matter how impressive our rank or wealth, we're to surrender ourselves like Christ. So here are some questions, and this is where we can put the rubber to the road. Question 1.
We need some answers, y'all.
How can you serve today? I want y'all to start chiming in. Type in some things that you can do to be of service for somebody today. Because something that you might type in Nope, somebody else might not even see a service. They may see it as something else. How can you be of service today? Good morning, Tori.
Good morning.
Oh man, I appreciate you getting on, Tori, when I know you got other things to do. Brother Tori, we're talking about the humble road to greatness. And Brother Tori, I just want to let you know, you never know who's watching you. I was in your office yesterday and I saw a book, and you had a book on a different way to talk to kids. So I definitely need to work on that because I know I need some help in that area. But the fact that you have a book that you want to read in order to grow in that area, I salute you, Brother Tori. I salute you. You never know. I'm always watching. Always watching.
All right, you sound like Ross on Monsters Inc.
Yeah. And so, oh goodness. Sleeping Beauty then got up.
Good morning, LaWanda.
Good morning, Miss LaWanda. All right. So how can you be of service today? Can you help somebody in the line? If somebody is in the line behind you that's on one of those carts, will you move out the way so that they can get in front of you and go on and check out first? Are you willing to drop a little extra money down to help somebody that's struggling?
Right.
Are you willing to ask a person when you see on their face that the whole weight of the world is on top of their eyebrows and you can't even see their eyes? Are you willing to just say, hey, is something wrong?
Right.
Can I help you? You know, don't be scared. Don't be afraid.
Right.
If they say nothing is wrong, then fine. You can keep on
But
moving.
you may be the only person
that may ask.
They be the only one.
It says, who needs a helping hand to move forward? Who is stressed not having what they need? It says, who needs shelter, rescue, or hope? Who needs what you have to give? Choose the way of Jesus today. Let pride and selfishness be overcome by humility. Pray and ask for wisdom to pursue his kind of greatness, modesty, love, and willingness to serve. In this way, you'll please the one who gave himself for you. Right. We want you to find ways to take the humble spirit that you have and be able to bless somebody else. So in that way, you are laying down a foundation about how to serve. So that way, that when that opportunity comes for you to lead, when that opportunity comes for you to get on that big stage, even though it may be a little nervousness about it, you have been prepared as stated in Mark chapter 10, 35 through 45. They wanted to carry the mantle of Christ, and they thought that they had the shoulders to do it. And the question came, are you willing to drink of my cup? Yes, we willing to do it. We willing to do it. We want to sit on the right-hand side and on the left-hand side of you. He said, okay, you will be able to drink of my cup. He said, but to grant you permission to sit on the right or the left is not for me to give. You have to be prepared for that. And that doesn't come through my authority. So they begin to complain and murmur like sometimes I do. And so you have the opportunity, you have a space and a place because you have a mind, you have a heart, you have limbs. So use what God has given you to be a blessing to someone else. Right. Be a servant. It's not always about being a shot caller. Be a servant. Ms. LaWanda said, I'll go get gas. I'll go get gas for it. Okay, so I need some gas. If you want to go get some gas, I got it's 27 gallons. Multiply that times $2.05. That's roughly about $60. There you go. Servitude.
Oh my gosh. You know, but I think if more of us would focus on doing things, even doing our job, you know, with the mindset that I want to do my job to glorify God and not man.
Ooh, let the door open.
You know, you make the shift.
Let that door open.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's not, and it's not to be saying anything to anybody else. You know, if you do something and you doing it just so somebody can see you doing it, that's a real sucky way to live. Right. Because that doesn't really boast that doesn't do anything. You know, to do something so somebody can see you, so you can get a pat on the back, So somebody can say you great. That's not real servitude.
But if you doing it totally for the idea of I want to do this to please God.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this to please man.
Mm-hmm.
Then you getting your eyes off of yourself. You solely focused in on I want to please him.
Uh-huh.
Is he pleased with what I did? Is he pleased with what I said? Because then he can trust you to put you in a position available to use for somebody else he sees fit.
A lot of people want to sit in that glory seat, but they don't want to travel that road of humility. They want the right now power, but they don't want the right now service. And you got to be willing to serve. You got to be willing to give of yourself. Right. You got to understand that even though you've asked God for something or you're looking for something in order to go to that next level, you still need to know that you are being made. You are being built. A foundation for your life is being paved, right, because only you are strong enough to travel that road. That road wasn't meant for me. It wasn't meant for Millicent. It wasn't meant for your friend at work. That road was meant for you. And avoiding that road just to go some other way, right, is not being humble. It's just shrieking responsibility. And with that, you miss an opportunity to grow. Right. Everybody can't be at the top calling shots. Everybody can't be the big boss. You got to make sure that you show that you can be humble, that you can be of service. And there's so many different ways that you can be of service. It's not no cookie cutter type thing. But I will say this, and I'm talking about servanthood and about this humble road to greatness, because you need to also be sensitive to the Spirit of God. And if he asks you to do something that you probably normally wouldn't do, knowing that your answer would be no, let's test that. If that's something that you would normally say no to, and God is asking you to do it, he's asking you to do it. I can't speak for God, but in my assumption, if he's asking you to do something, it could be a test. But if he's asking you to do something, it's because you actually have the ability and the resources to do it. So why not do it? If he's asking you to do something, in my assumption, because I can't speak for God, it could be that he trusts you. You have the tools, and are you the pathway to that person's breakthrough or that person's blessing? Right. And so when we transfer that to couples, then you need to be willing to do something in your marriage, in your commitment to your spouse that maybe you haven't normally done, especially if God is tugging your heart that if you do this, you can open up a gate and a doorway to your wife's heart that has been closed. You can open up a gate or a doorway to your husband's heart that has been closed. Instead of doing the same thing and expecting a different result. Right. Now you have a door to walk through. Are you going to be this word? It says humility, freedom from arrogance or pride. So now you have an opportunity to walk through a door to be able to be a blessing and a support to your spouse. Are you going to allow for arrogance to stop you? Right. Are you going to allow for that type of attitude because you need to be right? Are you going to allow that to stop you from a doorway that you can open up to your spouse's heart that could be a bridge over troubled water, that can take you to that next level? That's right. Because when you win these battles, and I ain't talking about something between you and your spouse, like you taking some kind of silly score. I'm talking real. When you win these battles that have been plaguing your relationship, you have set the devil in his place up underneath your feet in that area, and he is no longer going to torment your marriage in that area anymore. Now you will go hand in hand, and you'll be able to walk together because now you're stronger, and it will be something else that you're going to face. But that stuff is a distant memory, and it'll never, and I know they say never, but I can say that it'll never be something that'll stop your growth because now that you have allowed for God to lead you and guide you in that area, that doesn't become a stumbling stone for you.
Right.
It becomes a stepping stone for you, and for both of you to go and walk through that thing at the same time.
And you'll be able to help somebody else that may be going through that same thing or something similar later on. Because if you've been through it,
yes,
God then took care of you, you become victorious in that thing, then you can help somebody else.
And you help them in stages. Because remember, all of this is being tied in now. We first started talking about some things, we talked about servitude. So now we're bringing it to couples, husband and wife. So if that's the case, and Millicent and I have been through something that has dealt or put a wedge or a wall between us, and we've fought through it, we've prayed, we've allowed ourselves to be vulnerable and all that stuff, and then you think about when that started. It could have been a year, a month, 2, 3 years, whatever.
Right.
And then you get victory over that. The people that you're ministering to, they need to understand and trust and know that the process does take time.
Right.
Not to mean that it's going to take the same amount of time that it took Millicent and myself. It's because you can be expedited through that because we done already experienced it. Now we can coach you through it. But you do have to understand that it might not be an overnighter.
Right. That's
so
right.
We have to be able to coach you through the first steps of it. This is what we did. And then we get through that. Then this is what we did. And then we got through that. And then we got this bridge over troubled water and we got through that.
Right.
And so, but when you go through it, yeah, it's going to be tough. When we go through it together, it was tough. And some things are really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
But when it comes time and somebody is speaking on something that we know we've experienced, we're not no guru or authority in that area. All we can do is talk about the experience, the prayer, the fasting if need be, and anything else that it took to get from where we were to where we are now in that area. We can do that. But
it also goes back to what your mindset is. What is that you really want? Do you want true happiness? You want peace? You want restoration? Or you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Staying committed to the commitment.
Yeah.
Like we always talk about, and then being able to learn how to walk in humility with your spouse.
Yeah.
It's all about the mindset and the heart set.
Good morning, Miss Kingsley.
Good morning.
And it says right here too, because I know I said about this definition of humility, but the definition of service, the action of helping or doing work for someone. The action of helping or doing work for someone, that is service. And so as you matriculate through this week, you ask God to give you strength to be able to overcome your heart if your heart is not a heart of a servant. If you're a person that's not humble but have a little arrogance in your coffee, then ask God to take the arrogance out your coffee and put some humility in your coffee so that you can walk not as something of pride, but of something as somebody that's willing to help and serve. And it's okay to be transparent with that type of thing, because you being open, and you don't got to be open with us, but you need to be open with God about how you are, because everybody else knows.
So I have a question. How can you go to work and give your service at work, but you can't give service to your own spouse who you shall be with?
That's really dirty. That's dirty.
Question mark.
Yeah, think about that.
Yeah.
If you're a very, very willing and open person at work, and you Johnny on the spot with the things, and then your wife asks you to do something, you shrug up and your eyes get all tight. or you have a gesture, or you pout, or you hit your side, or oh my God. But then somebody at your job needs something, and you give them all the steps to the glory land. Then you got some displaced areas of service that you need to retread a pathway to your home.
Yeah.
Because your home is supposed to be the first place of service, because your spouse is the one that's closest to you than those people that work at your job. And so that's a good question, and that's something to think about. And even if it's not your job and it's somebody else, they call you and bam, you gone. Your wife or your husband call you and you got something to do, or you can't break away, but they need you. But when something else come up and somebody needs you, you break away, you get away. That's a disservice to the person that has committed their lives to following the vows that they were, following the vows that they committed to, and then commit to you, and you don't do that.
Right.
So I'm saying that from both perspectives, man and female. This coffee's good. But
refill?
no refill. So that's just something to think about as we get moving forward in this week. How are you serving? Do you serve at all? Does your heart get tugged, or do you feel very irritated when somebody asks you to serve or to help? If you feel like that, that's a human emotion. Allow yourself to grow. Oh my goodness, Miss Charlie. Miss Charlie said we are getting paid at work.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got you, Miss Charlie. But Miss Charlie, we already know you. We already know you, Miss Charlie. We know that your heart is big as the house. It's just got a big heart. So that's funny, Miss Charlie. So the thing is, if you're a person that if you're asked to do something and you really get irritated, you really gonna have to have a heart check. You really need to think about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure if you're that type of person, you're probably very isolated and you do everything on your own and you don't want nobody's help. But that's not the way to get through life. Being isolated and not wanting anybody else's help.
Yeah.
We all here for each other. And everybody has a talent and a gift that they have to bring to the table that can be a blessing to someone else.
Right.
But if at the act of somebody asking you, and evidently there's somebody listening that I keep talking about that, if the act of asking you to help or do something and you get really irritated, you definitely need to go and give that over to God and pray and say, Lord, I know that I act like that and I know that it exists.
But you know what? Let's go back to what she said. We're getting paid to work. How many people actually walk around with that attitude?
Oh, plenty of them,
So because you get paid to work, but what if you change some things at home? What kind of payment would you get at home? What kind of reward would you get at home? A reward for me would be just a place of peace, a place of happiness, a place of togetherness, a place of restoration.
Yeah.
And that stuff you can't put a price on.
You can't put a price on that because at work is work. But when you go home, you want to go home to a place that doesn't be like work. You want your home peaceful and this, that, and the other. You want it to be in that way. Family comes before work. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so the reason why we made that comment is because it needed to be something where we could see how some may do something on one end and do something different on the other, but they're still being called to service. Right. You need to be of service to your wife and to your husband, up to your children, first.
And don't get us wrong. We understand, work can be stressful. And sometimes you may have to bring your work home or something just got on your nerves that bad. It kind of bothers you, But then as the other spouse, again, I keep going back to that place of making your home a place of strength and peace and restoration.
Yeah.
Your spouse should be able to come home, talk to you about it. Sometimes it require answer or assistance with finding out a resolution, or sometimes it just require you just sitting there listening.
That's it.
You know, we both had days where we've had rough days, and the thing is, we've gotten to the point where we just know it. And so sometimes we just stand there and hug and just don't say nothing, and just hug all that foolishness from the day away.
That's right.
And leave that space open where when your spouse is ready to talk, you're ready to listen.
So we want you to have a great weekend, but we definitely want you to think about what we've discussed. We definitely want you to think about what we talked about as far as being a servant.
If I get along with folks at work, I have to bring those skills home and get along with those too, even when everything doesn't go my way.
Okay.
And also, pray over your atmosphere of your home before you step in the door.
Before you step in the door. And again, I go back to what we said earlier. If you always respond in a certain way, that's what they expect.
Exactly.
But if you ask God to help you in that area and you respond in a different way, yeah, they're going to look at you crazy. They're going to think you're on some drugs. But at least then they see that you have made a conscious effort to begin the road to making changes in how you respond to things that get up under your skin or whatever it may be.
And it may not be overnight, but it's going to cause a domino effect.
Yep.
Because they're going to pay attention. They keep doing the same stuff. You start responding differently, keep responding differently. Their attitude going to change.
That's right.
Their response is going to change.
That's right.
I know I can attest to that for sure.
What you mean? Sure. You want to elaborate? No, I'm just playing. So, we really appreciate you all taking time out of your Saturday to hang out with us. Remember, we want you to please share the video. There were some pretty strong connections in there toward the end about service and being humble and working to support your spouse. And if you're not married and you're thinking about getting into that commitment, these are things that you definitely need to think about. Because when it's all said and done, it's just you, your family, your husband, your wife. And so you need to, be able to show them that you can serve. Be willing to help, be willing to give of yourself, especially in areas where you feel kind of tight and just, that's not really my thing. But God rewards those who diligently seek him. And when you take, like Millicent said, take the work out of it and do it as if you're doing it unto God, unto Christ, unto Jesus, then it's a different kind of attitude and a different kind of approach to being a person that wants to support somebody else. So,
and your spouse can see that and they can feel that. They can tell when you genuinely changing, or if you just, again, I'm just going to do this because I don't feel like eating it. They know.
So after a while, the wall continues to get thick because then they refuse to ever ask you to help or do something in that area again because they know you're going to respond the same way.
Right.
So that's why I said, again, because I'm talking to somebody, change the way you respond. If you keep responding in the same way and expecting a different action, then it's not going to happen. So you have to look in the mirror, and there is an image that looks like you that's looking back at you, and you need to be honest with yourself that is something that you need to address. And then ask God, Lord, what is my first step in order to get to that next step? What I need to do first. The first thing you do, we talked about it last week's lesson, and this week, confess. Confess that to God. That's something that trips you up, that's something that bothers you, that's something that really gets up under your skin, and it's something that you struggle with, but you know that if conquered by the word, you will become a better man or a woman, then that's what you do. And after that, God will take a step, then you take a step, then God will take a step, you take a step, Jesus take a step, you take a step, and then you on your road, and now the bridge over troubled waters has been covered, and not to go back across. You don't go back across your bridge, you go somewhere else. So we just want to lift you up this week. We want to let you know how much we appreciate you chiming in, hanging out with us, but we do want to challenge you. We want to challenge you just like we challenge each other to make your relationship with God better by asking them to deal with you in those areas, just like we got to ask God to deal with us in these areas. Right. And then you go forward. You walk with a heart of humility and service, and you see how far you go. And you will go far. You will really reach some higher heights. But it all starts with the man and the woman, the boy and the girl in the mirror. So
So we're gonna let you all go and enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend. Again, like you said, we appreciate you taking the time out on your Saturday morning to be with us. We love each and every one of you. We want to ask you to like the video, share the video.
Yep.
Don't forget that we have a YouTube channel. You can just type in our names, either one of our names, in Marriage Matters or not, and just type our names in and it'll definitely come up.
Yep.
And share with somebody that, you know, if one of the lessons applies to them, send it to them. You can text it to them.
Yep.
You know, actually, and they can go on there and see, and you know, just be that vessel to be willing and ready to pray with that person if they had you to.
And thank you for all the hearts and the thumbs ups. I appreciate it. We love you. We really want you to be successful. We want you to be a person that's continuing to go from glory to glory in your relationship with God and your relationship with your spouse. And if you are paving that way and believing and trusting God for that person out there that's looking for you while you're looking for them, but yet being prepared, then we're talking to you too, because we definitely want you to only do this once. And then continue on. So I want you to have a great weekend.
Okay.
Challenge yourself this week to do something strong.
Yes.
Mr. Kingsley.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Look, you'll be able to look at the video because we're getting ready to sign off. But we love you, Mr. Kingsley. We love your wonderful wife. And so you continue to do what you do. And you're going to continue to go from glory to glory to glory. So I got to go get my hair cut. It doesn't look too good. And so
all right, we'll see y'all next Saturday and we'll discuss more marriage matters.
Because your marriage matters. Bye.